3 weeks had passed since the first battle. The damaged Dominion ship limped back to base while Admiral Vorthak tried to explain what had happened to High Counselor Morden. "You're telling me that a primitive species damaged one of our vessels?" Morden's blue lights pulsed with anger. "How is this possible?" "They didn't follow any known battle patterns," Vorthak explained. "War strategist Korath's calculations were completely wrong. They fought like madmen." "No species fights without logic," Morden replied coldly. "You will return with a proper fleet. 200 ships. End this embarrassment." Meanwhile, Captain Do-hyun walked through the corridors of the New Seoul. His people had used the 3 weeks well. Every piece of alien technology they had found was being studied and copied. In the engineering section, Choi Min-ho worked alongside Dr. Kim So-young to understand alien energy weapons. "Look at this," he said, pointing to a hologram. "Their weapons are powerful, but they're designed to work in specific ways. They can't adapt quickly. It's like they've never faced an enemy who changes tactics," Dr. So-young agreed. "Everything they do follows rules." Commander Park Ji-woo entered the room. "Captain wants to see everyone in the meeting room. We've got incoming ships." The senior staff gathered around a large table as Do-hyun activated the display. Long-range sensors showed 200 alien ships approaching. "They'll be here in 6 hours. Lieutenant Tae-min whistled softly. 200 ships? How are we supposed to fight that many?" "We don't fight them," Do-hyun said. "We teach them that fighting humans is different from fighting anyone else." Dr. So-young pulled up her research. "I've been studying their first attack. They move in perfect formations, but those formations have weaknesses. If we can break their coordination, they'll have trouble adapting." "What do you mean?" asked Ji-woo. "They're like a school of fish," So-young explained. "Beautiful when they move together, but helpless when scattered." Choi Min-ho activated another display. "I've modified our mining equipment into real weapons. We've also rigged the cargo bay doors to launch surprise attacks. And I've been training our pilots in something I call chaos flying," Tae-min added. "No patterns, no formations, just pure unpredictability." Do-hyun nodded. "Good. Remember, we're not trying to win a traditional battle. We're trying to survive and make them think twice about attacking humans again." 6 hours later, Admiral Vorthak's massive fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel. 200 ships arranged themselves in the traditional battlesphere, a formation that had conquered thousands of worlds. "This time will be different," Vorthak announced to his captains. "Deploy all fighters. Charge all weapons. These humans will learn the price of defying the Dominion." War strategist Korath studied his tactical displays. "Admiral, their single ship cannot possibly defeat our fleet. My calculations show a victory time of 4 minutes and 37 seconds. "Begin the attack," Vorthak ordered. The Dominion fleet moved forward like a rolling wave of destruction. Their formation was perfect, their timing precise. It was the most powerful battle formation in the galaxy. On the New Seoul, alarms sounded as the alien fleet approached. Do-hyun sat calmly in his command chair, watching the enemy formation on his screen. "Just like before," he said quietly. "Beautiful and predictable. All fighters ready for launch," reported. Tae-min, "Engineering standing by," added. Min-ho, "Weapons charged and ready," announced. Ji-woo, Do-hyun waited until the alien fleet was exactly where he wanted them. "Now," he said simply. What happened next shocked every alien in the fleet. Instead of facing the Dominion formation, the New Seoul suddenly broke apart. Sections that looked like they were breaking off were actually hidden fighter bays opening. Dozens of small human ships poured out in every direction, but these weren't normal fighters. Choi Min-ho had modified each one with salvaged alien technology. They could change direction impossibly fast, accelerate beyond what their size should allow, and carry weapons that no one expected. Lieutenant Tae-min led the charge, but not toward the enemy fleet. Instead, he dove under them, rolled sideways, then shot straight up through their formation. Behind him, other human pilots followed their own crazy paths. "What are they doing?" demanded Vorthak. "This isn't a battle formation." War strategist Korath's computers tried to analyze the human movements, but the data made no sense. "Admiral, I cannot predict their next moves. They appear to be flying randomly." The human fighters danced through the alien formation like leaves in a storm. They appeared from unexpected angles, fired quick bursts, then disappeared again. The Dominion ships tried to target them, but their weapons were designed for predictable battles against logical enemies. While the fighters created chaos, The new soul did something even more surprising. Instead of trying to escape or fight, it opened its cargo bays and launched thousands of small objects in every direction. "What are those?" asked Vorthak. His answer came seconds later when the objects exploded. They weren't bombs exactly, but modified mining charges that created clouds of metal fragments and electromagnetic pulses. The alien ship's sensors went crazy trying to track everything at once. Dr. So-Young had studied alien technology carefully. Their ships were powerful, but they relied heavily on computer coordination. Confused their computers, and their perfect formations became weaknesses. "Admiral, our targeting systems are malfunctioning," reported one of Vorthak's captains. "Mine too," called another. "These humans are jamming our sensors somehow." But the humans weren't jamming anything. They were simply creating too much chaos for the alien computers to handle. Every time the Dominion systems tried to lock onto a target, 3 more appeared from different directions. Lieutenant Taman's fighter suddenly appeared directly in front of the alien flagship. Before anyone could react, he fired a modified mining charge directly into their main sensor array. The explosion didn't destroy the ship, but it blinded it. "Return fire," ordered Vorthak, but his gunners couldn't see their target. The battle continued for 20 minutes. 20 minutes of complete chaos that left the Dominion fleet scattered and confused. When it ended, the humans had lost 3 fighters, but the alien fleet was in disarray. 12 Dominion ships had damaged systems. Their perfect formation was broken. Their computers were overloaded with contradictory data, and their admiral was staring at his screens in complete disbelief. "Withdraw," Vorthak ordered quietly. "Sir?" asked his communications officer. "I said withdraw," Vorthak shouted. "All ships retreat to safe distance." As the alien fleet pulled back, Captain Do-hyun opened a communication channel. "This is Captain Do-hyun," he said calmly. "We told you we don't surrender. We hope you understand now that fighting humans isn't like fighting other species. We adapt, we improvise, we survive." On the Dominion flagship, war strategist Korath stared at his useless calculations. Everything he knew about warfare had just been proven wrong by a single human ship and a few dozen fighters. "Admiral," he said slowly, "I don't think these humans understand that war has rules." Vorthak looked out at the human ship, still intact despite facing impossible odds. "No," he said quietly, "I don't think they do." High Counselor Morden's hologram appeared on the bridge, his blue lights flashing with fury. "Explain this failure, Admiral." "Sir," Vorthak began, "these humans don't fight like any species we've encountered. They're unpredictable, adaptable, and completely insane." "No species is unpredictable," Morden replied. "You will study their methods and defeat them. The reputation of the Dominion depends on it." But as the alien fleet retreated, word of the battle was already spreading across the galaxy. Other species under Dominion rule heard whispers of humans who had fought 200 ships and survived. Some began to wonder if the Dominion was truly invincible. On the new Sol, Do-hyun gathered his tired crew. "Well done, everyone. But this won't be the last time they come." Dr. So-Young nodded. "They'll adapt to what we did today. We need to be ready with new surprises." "Then we'll give them surprises," Do-hyun said with a tired smile. "After all, that's what humans do best." None of them knew it yet, but their small victory had planted a seed that would grow into something much larger. The galaxy was about to learn that humans didn't just fight to win. They fought to change the rules of war itself. President Moon Jae-in stood on the observation deck of the diplomatic station, floating in neutral space. Through the transparent walls, she could see ships from dozens of different species docked together like a floating city. Human vessels connected to alien designs, creating something that had never existed before in galactic history. 2 years, she said to Ambassador Shin Hai-wan, who stood beside her. 2 years since first contact, and we're about to sign a peace treaty that will change everything. Ambassador Hai-wan nodded, watching alien delegates walk through corridors alongside human diplomats. The Dominion has agreed to all our terms. Complete autonomy for all member species, shared technology, and no more forced expansion. In the main conference room, representatives from over 300 species gathered around a table that shifted and adapted to accommodate different body types. Some delegates breathed oxygen, others required methane, and a few existed as pure energy. Human engineering had made it possible for them all to meet safely in one place. Fleet Admiral Ko Min-jun entered the room, his dress uniform bearing insignia from dozens of different species. As the Supreme Commander of the new Galactic Defense Alliance, he represented the military force that had made this peace possible. The Dominion delegation has arrived, he announced. Admiral Vorthak walked into the room, but he looked different from the proud military commander who had first encountered humanity. His forearms moved with less certainty, and his large eyes showed something that hadn't been there before, doubt about everything he had once believed. Behind him came war strategist Korath, whose snake-like body coiled nervously. The alien who had once calculated certain victory now spent his time trying to understand human chaos mathematics, the strange logic that made unpredictable tactics work. High Counselor. Morden entered last, his blue lights dim with exhaustion. The leader who had ruled half the galaxy now commanded only a dozen star systems and a handful of ships. But he was alive, and his people were free to choose their own future, which was more than he had expected after the rebellion succeeded. President J-In activated the holographic displays that filled the room. We're here to formalize the end of the Dominion Wars and establish a new framework for galactic civilization. Dr. An Sul-Ki, now the Director of Interspecies Technology Exchange, stood to present her report. Over the past year, we've successfully integrated technology from 47 different species. Medical advances, energy systems, faster-than-light travel improvements, all shared freely among Alliance members. The results have exceeded all projections, she continued. Diseases that plagued certain species for millennia have been cured using techniques from others. Energy efficiency has improved by 300% across the Alliance. Most importantly, we've learned that diversity creates strength, not weakness. Admiral Vorthak listened with growing amazement. You're giving away your technological advantages. We're sharing them, corrected Ambassador Haywan. When everyone benefits, everyone grows stronger. When one species hoards knowledge, everyone suffers. Morden's lights flickered with confusion. But how do you maintain control? How do you keep order without dominance? President J-In smiled gently. We don't control anyone, Counselor. We cooperate. Every species in the Alliance makes their own choices about how to live, what to believe, and who to trade with. Our role is to protect that freedom, not to direct it. Fleet Admiral Minjun activated the defense network displays. The Galactic Defense Alliance now includes over 400 star systems and 600 different species. But it's not an empire. Any member can leave at any time, and any peaceful species can join. The defense fleet operates on principles of mutual aid, he explained. When one member is threatened, others respond if they choose to. No one is forced to fight, but few threats can stand against united volunteers. War strategist Korath studied the displays with fascination and frustration. Your military formations still make no sense. There's no hierarchy, no unified command structure, no predictable tactics. That's what makes them work, replied Admiral Minjun. Every battle is different because every commander thinks differently. We adapt faster than any rigid system can counter. As the formal treaty signing began, delegates from across the galaxy added their names and symbols to the agreement. Each species used their own language and customs, creating a document that was itself a work of art, spanning dozens of cultures. The treaty established simple principles: freedom of choice for all sentient beings, voluntary cooperation instead of forced compliance, shared knowledge and mutual aid, and protection for those who couldn't protect themselves. When the signing finished, something unexpected happened. Admiral Vorthak stood and addressed the room. 2 years ago, I commanded a fleet that had never been defeated. I served an empire that had ruled for 8 centuries. I believed that power meant the ability to force others to obey. His forearms gestured slowly as he continued. The humans taught me that real power comes from inspiring others to choose cooperation. You defeated us not with superior weapons, but with superior ideas. I request permission to join the Galactic Defense Alliance, he announced. My ships and my people want to protect the freedom we once tried to destroy. The room fell silent. Then President J-In stood and extended her hand in the human gesture of greeting. Welcome to the Alliance, Admiral. We're honored to have you. War strategist Korath also requested to join, along with his entire strategic planning staff. They wanted to study human chaos mathematics and learn how unpredictability could become a tool for peace. Even High Counselor Morden, after long consideration, signed a cooperation agreement that would transform the remaining Dominion territories into independent member states of the Alliance. As the conference ended, delegates from hundreds of species mingled in ways that would have been impossible under Dominion rule. Children from different worlds played together, while their parents discussed trade, agreements, and cultural exchanges. Dr. Silke found herself in conversation with a brilliant Dominion scientist who had spent centuries developing weapons. Now they were planning joint research into terraforming technology that could create garden worlds for refugees and displaced populations. Fleet Admiral Minjun walked through the station's corridors with Admiral Vorthak, discussing defense strategies that relied on cooperation rather than conquest. The former enemies had become partners in protecting something they both now valued: the right of every species to choose its own path. Ambassador Hai Wan stood in the children's section, watching young humans play with alien children in games that required different types of minds working together. These children would grow up in a galaxy where diversity was celebrated, not feared. 5 years later, President J.N. stood in the same observation deck, but the view had changed dramatically. The diplomatic station had grown into a small city, surrounded by ships, research facilities, and cultural centers from across the galaxy. News reports showed the results of the new paradigm. Wars had become rare because most conflicts were resolved through negotiation and mutual aid. Scientific advances accelerated as different species shared their unique perspectives. Art and culture flourished as creative minds from hundreds of worlds collaborated. The galaxy still faced challenges. Some species remained isolated by choice or circumstance. Pirates and criminals still threatened peaceful traders. Natural disasters required coordinated response efforts. But these problems were solved through cooperation, not conquest. Admiral Vorthak, now serving as Deputy Commander of the Defense Alliance, often reflected on how much had changed. His flagship carried a crew from 23 different species, all working together with an efficiency that surpassed anything the Old Dominion had achieved. War strategist Korath had become Professor Korath, teaching courses on adaptive strategy at the new Galactic Military Academy. His students learned that the best tactics were those that could change instantly when circumstances changed. High Counselor Morden had retired from politics to become a historian, documenting the transition from Empire to Alliance. His writings helped other species understand how rigid thinking could be transformed into flexible cooperation. The humans who had started this revolution continued to explore new worlds and make new friends. Captain Do-hyun, now an ambassador himself, helped newly discovered species understand their options in the wider galaxy. Dr. So-young led research teams that included some of the galaxy's greatest minds, all working together to solve problems that no single species could handle alone. Lieutenant Tae-min, promoted to squadron commander, trained pilots from dozens of species in the art of adaptive flying. His students learned that the best formations were those that could become something completely different at a moment's notice. As President J.N. looked out at the peaceful, chaotic, wonderful mixture of species working together, she thought about the simple message that had started it all. We don't surrender. We adapt. Humanity had kept that promise. They had adapted to the galaxy and helped the galaxy adapt to them. The result was something no one had imagined possible. A civilization based on choice rather than force, cooperation rather than dominance, diversity rather than uniformity. Admiral Seo Dong-wook stood before the largest holographic display ever built on Earth. Across the three-dimensional map, red dots showed Dominion fleets while blue markers indicated human forces. But most interesting were the green signals scattered throughout the galaxy, other species that had declared independence from the Dominion. 6 months, he said to his assembled commanders. 6 months since our first contact and half the galaxy is in rebellion. Intelligence Officer Han Na-young activated her reports. Admiral, we now have active resistance movements on over 200 worlds. The Zelnari threw out their Dominion governors last week. The Kethran Federation has declared complete independence. Even some species we've never met are fighting for freedom. Captain Kwon Hyun-soo, commander of the Special Boarding Forces, studied the tactical displays. The aliens are responding with everything they have. 2,000 ships spread across 12 star systems. They're trying to crush all the rebellions at once. Engineer Park Sun-woo looked up from his design station. Our new ships are ready, Admiral. 500 vessels with adaptive technology. They can change shape, modify their weapons mid-battle, and coordinate using quantum entanglement instead of radio. Admiral Dong-wook nodded grimly. Then it's time to show the galaxy what humans can really do when we're fighting for something we believe in. Across the galaxy, High Counselor Morden stood in the Dominion's main command center, watching his empire tear itself apart. The blue lights on his skin pulsed with fury as reports poured in from every sector. "How did this happen?" he demanded. "We ruled for 800 years without serious rebellion. Then these humans appear, and suddenly half our subjects think they can be free." Admiral Vorthak, recently returned from his encounters with humanity, tried to explain. "Counselor, the humans don't fight like other species. They don't just want to win battles. They want to change how everyone thinks about war itself." "Explain." "They rescue enemy survivors. They share their technology with allies. They fight not to conquer, but to protect. Other species see this and remember what freedom used to mean." Morden's lights flashed dangerously. "Then we will crush the humans and every species that follows their example. Deploy the entire fleet. End this rebellion permanently." The war that followed was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Instead of massive fleet battles between organized forces, it became a swirling chaos of small conflicts across hundreds of star systems. Human forces appeared wherever they were needed most. A dozen ships would arrive to help a besieged colony, fight off the attackers, then disappear before Dominion reinforcements could arrive. They fought like ghosts, striking quickly and vanishing into the darkness between stars. Captain Hyun-soo led one of the strangest military units in history. His boarding teams didn't just capture enemy ships, they convinced enemy crews to switch sides. Using psychological profiles created by intelligence officer Ne Young, they could predict which alien soldiers might be sympathetic to the rebellion. "Remember," Hyun-soo told his team as they prepared to board a Dominion cruiser, "we're not here to destroy this ship. We're here to liberate it." The boarding action lasted less than an hour. Instead of fighting through the ship with weapons, Hyun-soo's team used Nayoung's intelligence to identify crew members who were unhappy with Dominion rule. They offered these aliens a choice: continue serving an empire that treated them as expendable, or join the growing alliance of free species. By the time the operation ended, 3/4 of the alien crew had volunteered to switch sides. The ship itself became part of the human fleet, crewed by former Dominion soldiers who now fought for their own freedom. This pattern repeated across the galaxy. Human forces didn't just win battles, they converted enemies into allies. Every engagement left the Dominion weaker and the rebellion stronger. Engineer Sun Woo's adaptive ships proved perfect for this new kind of warfare. A human destroyer could transform into a medical ship to help wounded aliens, then reconfigure itself into a cargo vessel to deliver supplies to besieged colonies. The Dominion never knew what they were fighting until it was too late. The turning point came at the Battle of Vega 7, where the largest Dominion fleet in history met a combined force of humans and rebel species. Admiral Dong-wook commanded from his flagship, surrounded by representatives from dozens of different alien races. The bridge looked like something from a fantasy story. Creatures with tentacles working alongside beings made of living crystal, all coordinated by human officers who somehow made it all work together. "Admiral," reported Nayoung, "the Dominion fleet is moving into traditional attack formation. 2,000 ships in perfect order." "And how many ships do we have?" asked Dong-wook. 800, sir. But they're all different designs from different species. This should be impossible to coordinate." Dong-wook smiled. "That's what makes it perfect. Begin Operation Symphony." What happened next would be studied by military historians for centuries. Instead of meeting the Dominion fleet in traditional battle, the combined rebel forces began what looked like a dance. Human ships moved to the rhythm of classical music broadcast on open frequencies. Alien vessels followed their own cultural patterns, some based on mathematics, others on poetry, a few on the migration patterns of space whales. But somehow, impossibly, it all worked together. The Dominion fleet found itself surrounded not by organized formations, but by a living artwork made of starships. Every time they moved to attack one group, 3 others appeared from unexpected directions. Captain Hyun-soo led the most daring part of the operation. While the main fleets danced around each other, his boarding teams infiltrated the Dominion flagship using captured alien shuttles. But instead of trying to take the ship by force, they did something unprecedented. They broadcast a live transmission throughout the entire fleet, showing Dominion crew members what the rebellion really looked like. The transmission showed humans and aliens working together as equals, former enemies sharing meals and ideas, children from dozens of different species playing together on peaceful worlds. It was everything the Dominion had told their people was impossible. "This is what we're fighting for," Hyun-soo announced to the Dominion fleet. "Not conquest, not domination, just the right to choose our own future." The effect was immediate and devastating. Across the Dominion fleet, crew members began questioning their orders. Some ships stopped fighting entirely. Others turned their weapons on vessels that tried to continue the battle. Admiral Vorthak, commanding the Dominion fleet, watched his perfectly organized force dissolve into chaos. But it wasn't the violent chaos of battle. It was the creative chaos of people making their own choices for the first time in centuries. "Admiral," his communications officer reported, "we're receiving surrender requests from over 300 ships. They want to join the rebellion." Vorthak looked at his tactical display where red Dominion markers were turning green faster than his computers could track. The battle was over, but not the way anyone had expected. "Stand down all weapons," he ordered quietly. "Signal the human fleet, we surrender." But Admiral Dongwook's response shocked everyone. "We don't accept surrenders," he broadcast to the entire system. "We offer partnerships. Any ship, any crew, any individual who wants to join our alliance is welcome. Those who want to return to Dominion space can leave safely." The Battle of Vega 7 ended with the strangest sight in galactic history. 2,000 former enemy ships working together to help their wounded and repair battle damage. Humans, Dominion species, and rebel aliens shared food, stories, and hope for the future. High Counselor Morden received the news in his palace on the Dominion homeworld. His empire, built over 8 centuries, had lost 2/3 of its fleet in a single day. Not to superior firepower, but to an idea. How do we fight an idea? He asked his advisors. None of them had an answer. On his flagship, Admiral Dongwook looked out at the mixed fleet of human and alien vessels. 6 months ago, humanity had been alone in the galaxy. Now they were part of something bigger, an alliance of species that chose cooperation over conquest. "Admiral," asked Na Young, "what happens now?" Dongwook thought about Earth, about the colonies that were being built on distant worlds, about children who would grow up in a galaxy where different species worked together instead of fighting. "Now," he said, "we go home. But not the same people who left. We're something new now. All of us, the war wasn't over yet." The Dominion still controlled hundreds of worlds and thousands of ships. But something fundamental had changed in the galaxy. An idea had taken root, the idea that different species could work together as equals. And ideas, as the humans had proven, were more powerful than any weapon. General Yoon Sung-min stood on the bridge of his flagship as it dropped out of faster-than-light travel. Behind him, 30 human ships appeared in perfect formation. But unlike the rigid alien formations, the human fleet moved like a living thing, constantly shifting and adapting. "Captain Do-hyun," he said over the communication system, "it's good to see you're still in one piece." On the new Sol, Do-hyun smiled with relief. "General, your timing is perfect. We've been studying our new neighbors and we have a lot to show you." 3 months had passed since the second battle. Word had reached Earth about the alien threat, and humanity had responded the way it always did to impossible challenges. They had adapted, improvised, and built something completely new. Captain Bae Ye-jin commanded one of the new ships in Sung-min's fleet. The destroyer Incheon Thunder looked like nothing the galaxy had ever seen. Human engineering combined with copied alien technology had created vessels that could change shape during battle. "General," she reported, "long-range sensors detect a massive alien fleet approaching, over 1,000 ships." Technician O.J. Sung looked up from his station. For weeks he had been working on a special project. "Sir, I finished the communication virus. If I can get close enough to their flagship, I can upload it to their entire fleet." Dr. Lim Hyo-jung activated her displays, showing the new weapons her team had developed. "The quantum mines are ready for deployment. They'll phase through their shields and explode inside their ships." General Sung-min studied the tactical display. Admiral Vorthak was coming with everything he had. This would be the real test of human adaptability. "All ships spread out," he ordered. "Remember, we're not trying to destroy their fleet. We're trying to teach them that fighting humans is more trouble than it's worth." Far across space, Admiral Vorthak prepared for what he hoped would be the final battle. High Counselor Morden had given him unlimited resources and a simple order: destroy the humans completely. War Strategist Korath, what do your calculations show? Vorthak asked. Korath's snake-like body coiled nervously around his chair. Admiral, my computers cannot predict human behavior. Every time I think I understand their patterns, they do something impossible. Then we'll use overwhelming force, Vorthak decided. 1,000 ships against 30. Even humans cannot survive those odds. But when the Dominion fleet arrived, they found something unexpected. The human ships weren't grouped together for a last stand. Instead, they were scattered across the entire star system, moving in patterns that seemed random but felt somehow purposeful. Admiral, reported one of his captains, the humans are broadcasting something on all frequencies. What kind of transmission? Music, sir, and something they call poetry. Vorthak's forearms gestured in confusion. Are they surrendering? I don't think so, sir. The transmission is very loud. What the aliens didn't understand was that the music served a purpose. Human ships use the rhythm to coordinate their movements without using normal radio communications. Classical symphonies, rock music, and traditional Korean songs became a battle language that alien computers couldn't decode. Captain Yejin's ship danced through space to the rhythm of Beethoven's Fifth Symphony. All fighters follow the music, she ordered. Remember, we're not trying to win. We're trying to survive and drive them crazy. The battle began when the Dominion fleet moved into their traditional attack formation, but the humans had learned from their previous encounters. Instead of meeting the aliens head-on, they did something completely unexpected. They scattered in every direction, not running away, but spreading out like seeds in the wind. Each human ship became an independent problem that the alien fleet had to solve separately. Lieutenant Taemin, now commanding his own squadron, led 12 fighters in a diving attack on the alien flagship. But instead of firing weapons, they released thousands of small objects that glittered in the starlight. What are those? Demanded Vorthak. His answer came when the objects reached his ship. They were pieces of metal and electronics that stuck to the hull like magnets. Not bombs, but something much more annoying. They interfered with sensors, blocked weapon ports, and generally made the ship harder to operate. While Taemin's squadron kept the flagship busy, Technician Jae Sung approached in a modified cargo ship. His vessel looked damaged and helpless, drifting toward the alien fleet as if out of control. Should we destroy it? Asked one of Vorthak's gunners. No, the admiral decided. Let it drift. One human ship cannot hurt us, that was a mistake. When Jae Sung's ship drifted close enough to the flagship, he activated his special program. The communication virus he had designed spread through the Dominion fleet's network like digital wildfire. Suddenly, alien ships began receiving contradictory orders. Some were told to attack targets that didn't exist. Others received commands to retreat. A few started playing human music over their communication systems. What's happening to our network? Vorthak demanded. The humans have infected our computers somehow, reported his technical officer. I can't stop it. While the alien fleet struggled with their malfunctioning communications, Dr. Hyojung deployed her quantum mines. The weapons phased through normal matter until they reached the center of enemy ships, then exploded from the inside. The mines didn't destroy the alien vessels, but they caused massive system failures. Ships that had seemed invincible suddenly found themselves drifting, helplessly with dead engines and failing life support. But the most shocking moment came when General Sungmin ordered his ships to do something no military force had ever attempted. Instead of trying to destroy the crippled alien vessels, the humans began rescuing their crews. General, asked Captain Yejin, are we really saving the people who just tried to kill us? Yes, Sungmin replied simply. Because that's what humans do. Human ships moved alongside disabled Dominion vessels, offering medical aid and emergency supplies. They broadcast messages in dozens of alien languages, explaining how to repair critical systems and restore life support. On the alien flagship, Admiral Vorthak watched in complete confusion as human medical teams boarded his ship to help injured crew members. Why are they helping us? He asked Dr. So Young, who had come aboard with the medical team. Because you're not our enemy, she explained while treating an injured alien. You're just people who picked a fight with the wrong species. The battle ended not with destruction, but with the strangest sight the galaxy had ever seen. human and alien ships working together to repair battle damage, while their crews shared food and medical supplies. War strategist Korath sat in his chair, staring at displays that made no sense. His computers showed that the humans had won the battle without destroying a single alien ship. They had defeated 1,000-ship fleet through kindness and confusion. "Admiral," he said slowly, "I don't think these humans understand war at all." Vorthak looked around his bridge, where human technicians were helping his crew repair damaged systems. "No," he agreed. "I don't think they do." News of the battle spread across the galaxy faster than light. Other species under Dominion rule heard the impossible story. Humans had defeated the invincible fleet and then helped their enemies recover. On distant worlds, rebellions began to spark. If humans could stand against the Dominion and show mercy to their enemies, maybe freedom was possible after all. High Counselor Morden received the reports with growing alarm. Not only had the humans survived, they had turned his greatest weapon into something like a diplomatic mission. "This cannot continue," he declared to his council. "These humans are making our enemies sympathetic to rebellion. They must be destroyed completely." But in the deep space between stars, Admiral Vorthak sat alone in his quarters, thinking about what he had seen. Humans who fought like demons but helped their enemies. Warriors who followed no rules but their own strange sense of right and wrong. For the first time in his long career, the Admiral wondered if the Dominion had picked a fight with something they couldn't defeat. Not because humans were stronger or smarter, but because they were something the galaxy had never seen before. They were something completely, wonderfully, terrifyingly new. General Sungmin gathered his fleet for the journey home, but he knew this wasn't over. The galaxy had noticed humanity now, and there would be consequences. "Sir," asked Captain Yejin, "what happens next?" Sungmin looked out at the stars, thinking about Earth and the millions of humans who had never seen aliens before. "Next," he said quietly, "we prepare for war. Real war. Because after today, the whole galaxy is going to want to know what makes humans so different." He was right. The galaxy was about to learn that humans didn't just fight wars. They changed them completely. Admiral Cal Vorthak stood on the bridge of his massive warship, looking out at the stars. His forearms moved across control panels with practiced ease. For 800 years, his people had ruled the galaxy alongside their allies. War was simple. War was predictable. War always ended the same way. "Admiral," called war strategist Nis Korath from his station. His snake-like body coiled around his chair as data flowed across his screens. "We have detected a new species in the outer rim. They call themselves humans." Vorthak's large eyes focused on the report. Another primitive race to add to their empire. It was always the same. First, they would demand surrender. Then they would show their power. Finally, the new species would join the Dominion Alliance or be destroyed. Simple. "What is their technology level?" Vorthak asked. "They have just discovered faster-than-light travel," Korath replied. "Their ships are crude. Their weapons are basic. They should surrender within hours of our arrival." High Counselor Thex Morden materialized on the bridge through a hologram. His gray skin pulsed with the blue lights that covered his people. "Begin standard protocol," he ordered. "Send 12 ships." "Make it quick," Vorthak nodded. 12 ships were more than enough. Most species surrendered after seeing just one Dominion vessel. These humans would be no different. Far across the galaxy, Captain Huan Do-hyun sat in the command chair of the colony ship New Seoul. The massive vessel carried 50,000 people searching for a new home. They had traveled for months to reach the Kepler 442 system, hoping to find a peaceful planet to build their future. "Captain," called Commander Park Ji-woo from her station, "we're picking up unknown ships on long-range sensors. 12 vessels approaching fast." Do-hyun straightened in his chair. "Are they human ships, NO, sir?" "The design is completely unknown. They're much larger than anything we've ever built." Dr. Kim So-young looked up from her science station. "Captain, I'm detecting energy signatures we've never seen before. These ships are far more advanced than ours." Do-hyun felt his heart rate increase, but his voice remained calm. "Red alert. All hands to battle stations. Communications, try to contact them." Lieutenant Lee Tae-min ran toward the fighter bay. As the ship's best pilot, he knew he might be needed soon. Behind him, Engineer Choi Min-ho was already working on the weapon systems, checking every circuit and power connection. The alien ships dropped out of faster-than-light travel in perfect formation. They moved like dancers. each ship knowing exactly where the others would be. It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. Admiral Vorthak activated the communication system. He had given this speech thousands of times before. Primitive species of the third planet, you are now in Dominion space. Surrender immediately, and you will be allowed to serve the Alliance. Resist and you will be destroyed. You have 1 standard hour to respond. On the New Sol, the translation computers worked frantically to decode the message. When it finished, the bridge fell silent. Well, said Commander Jiwoo quietly. That was direct. Captain Do-hyun stood up slowly. He thought about the 50,000 people on his ship. Families with children, scientists and teachers, farmers and engineers, people who had left Earth to build something better among the stars. Open a channel, he ordered. Channel open, sir. Do-hyun looked directly at the main screen, knowing the aliens could see him. This is Captain Hwan Do-hyun of the human vessel New Sol. We are peaceful explorers seeking a new home. We mean no harm to you or your people. Vorthak was surprised. Usually, species either surrendered immediately or started shooting. They never tried to negotiate. Your intentions are irrelevant, Vorthak replied. This system belongs to the Dominion. Surrender or be destroyed. Do-hyun looked around his bridge. His crew watched him with trust and determination. These people had followed him across the galaxy. They deserved better than slavery or death. We cannot surrender, Do-hyun said simply. We have families aboard this ship. Children. If you want this system, you'll have to fight for it. On the Dominion flagship, war strategist Korath's calculations showed certain victory. The human ship was large but poorly armed. Their technology was centuries behind Dominion standards. The battle would last less than 10 minutes. They choose destruction, Vorthak announced to his fleet. Begin attack pattern 7. Standard power demonstration. The Dominion ships moved forward in their traditional formation. They had used this same pattern for hundreds of years against thousands of different species. It always worked. But Dr. So-young was watching everything. Captain, look at how they're moving. It's like a dance. They're following a pattern. Commander Jiwoo studied the alien formation. You're right. They're not adapting to our position. They're just following their plan. All fighters launch, Do-hyun ordered. Engineering, prepare all mining charges for combat use. Mining charges? Asked Choi Min-ho. Sir, those aren't weapons. They are now, Do-hyun replied. Lieutenant Taemin's fighter shot out of the New Sol's bay. He had trained for combat but never against aliens. He watched the enemy ships move in their perfect formation and suddenly understood what his captain was thinking. They're not expecting us to do anything crazy, he said over the radio, the Dominion. Ships opened fire with their demonstration weapons. Bright beams of energy lit up space designed to frighten rather than destroy. They wanted the humans to see their power and surrender. Instead, the humans did something no species had ever done before. They split up. The New Sol turned hard to one side while its fighters scattered in every direction. There was no pattern, no formation, no plan that Korath could understand. What are they doing? Vorthak demanded. I don't know, Korath admitted. For the first time in his career, his calculations were wrong. Lieutenant Taemin dove straight at the largest alien ship, then rolled away at the last second. As he passed underneath, the New Sol fired its mining charges. The explosives weren't designed for space combat, but they didn't need to be. They just needed to hit something hard. The charges slammed into the Dominion ship's shields, causing them to flicker and spark. Alarms sounded throughout the alien vessel as systems overloaded. Impossible, whispered Vorthak. Their weapons are too primitive to damage our shields. But Dr. So-young had studied the alien energy patterns. The charges aren't breaking through their shields, she explained to her captain. They're making them work too hard, like overloading a circuit. The battle lasted only minutes, but those minutes changed everything. When it ended, one Dominion ship was heavily damaged and the others were retreating. The humans had not won, but they had not lost either. Admiral Vorthak stared at the damaged ship in disbelief. In 800 years, no primitive species had ever hurt a Dominion vessel. Withdraw to safe distance, he ordered. We need to report this to High Command. On the New Sol, Captain Do-hyun watched the alien ships pull back. His people had survived the first encounter, but he knew more would come. Good work, everyone, he said quietly. But this is just the beginning. He was right. The galaxy was about to learn that humans didn't follow the rules of war. They made their own rules, and that was going to change everything.